At the movie's outset, Bob, a man grappling with invisibility due to a long-standing ailment, finds himself distant from his daughter Eva and estranged from her mother Rosalind. Rosalind, perturbed by Eva's unusual behavior, implores Bob to visit and address the situation. Reluctant due to his invisible condition and past grievances, Bob initially declines, citing financial support as his contribution. However, stirred by Rosalind's plea, he sets aside his apprehensions and heads out for work. Along the way, Bob encounters Nelson, a drug supplier, who demands an increased price due to pressure from his boss, Crispy. Despite Bob's appeal for a reduced rate, Nelson stands firm, leaving Bob in a quandary. Eventually, Bob decides to visit Rosalind and Eva, borrowing Crispy's car for the journey. Unfortunately, an accident ensues, damaging Crispy's vehicle. When Bob reaches out to Nelson for assistance, he coldly refuses, leaving Bob to grapple with the aftermath alone. Surveying his injuries in a nearby shop, Bob frets over how to explain the car damage to Crispy. However, Crispy soon arrives, informed by Nelson, and demands reimbursement for the car's repair before granting Bob the freedom to proceed as he wishes. Once Bob manages to gather the required funds, Crispy presents him with an ultimatum: either pay up or distribute the syrup to Crispy's clientele, a proposition to which Bob reluctantly agrees. Crispy devises a plan involving a bear, stuffing the substance into its head, and entrusting Bob with the task of delivery. Bob proceeds to Rogan's residence, only to learn that Eva is away at a friend's house and will return the following morning. Spending the night there, Bob shares with Eva the reason for his sudden visit, her mother's call prompting his arrival. Eva's response is subdued as she retreats indoors, prompting Bob to fulfill his delivery obligation. At Milton's establishment, Bob undergoes scrutiny from Milton's assistant, causing him pain when his wounded hand is examined. After securing medication for his injury from a nearby Chinese medical store, Bob returns home to find Eva inquiring about her grandfather's well-being. Bob reveals the grim reality of his grandfather's deteriorating mental health due to bipolar disorder. Despite Bob's offer to take Eva out, she declines, citing unfinished tasks, but eventually agrees to accompany him to the Chinese medical store. Inside, Eva encounters her friend, and together they contemplate visiting the adjacent old mental hospital out of curiosity. Initially hesitant, Eva persuades her friend, and they venture inside, where they encounter a mysterious figure cloaked in white. Startled, they flee, leaving behind Eva's scarf, revealing a startling revelation: Eva's gradual invisibility mirroring Bob's condition. Meanwhile, the guards apprehend Eva as she is caught red-handed. Though the old hospital houses only a handful of patients, doctors now frequent the establishment for rounds. As the day progresses without Eva's return, Bob grows increasingly anxious and reaches out to her, learning of her plans to spend time with friends. Upon visiting Amelia's residence, Bob discovers that Amelia has yet to return home either, further heightening his worry. Questioning Eva's other friend reveals little, but Bob senses deception and confronts him, extracting the truth about their visit to the mental hospital and Eva's subsequent disappearance. Rushing to the hospital, Bob is suddenly incapacitated by a taser gun, rendering him unconscious. Rosalind is informed of Bob's deteriorating condition, with the doctor urging her to keep him hospitalized to prevent violent outbursts, revealing a hereditary condition of invisibility shared by Bob and his father. Admitting Bob to the hospital, the doctor reassures him of a potential cure. Later that night, Bob finds his room door mysteriously ajar, facilitating his escape from the hospital. Returning home, he discovers a message from Amelia on Eva's phone, prompting him to visit her residence in search of answers. Amelia discloses that Eva's gradual invisibility prompted their escape from the mental hospital, surmising that Eva may have ventured to the Chinese medical store for medication. Bob proceeds to the store and queries the shopkeeper about Eva's whereabouts, eliciting a dishonest response. However, upon revealing his own condition, half of his head invisible, the shopkeeper confesses and directs Bob to a room in the basement. There, Bob is horrified to witness individuals conducting experiments with different types of Chinese meats on Ava. Bob meets all of them. He fights, but they all get scared after seeing Bob's body parts becoming visible. Then he somehow rescues Bob from there and brings her back. After going home, Ava tells her mother that, like me, Papa also has the disease of becoming invisible. Maybe that's why he was not coming home for so many years. You must have been hurt a lot, and he is in a lot of pain too. But he says, I have an urgent work, and after saying this he leaves. Ava says, I too, Papa, will go with you now. Both father and daughter leave in the car, and after meeting Nelson, Bob gives him the money that Milton had given him for the goods. Nelson takes the packet of money and gives it directly to Crispy. Now Crispy opens that packet and finds money in it. Instead of screws, there are nuts and bolts. Then Bob takes Ava to his house, but now he is becoming very invisible and tells Ava that I want to go out and says this and leaves the house. Ava is alone. And then Crispy comes and starts vandalizing the house, and when he finds out that Ava is Bob's daughter, he says that your father ran away with my money. Tell him to come here quickly or I will blow you up. When he takes out his gun, suddenly someone grabs him, pulls him and strangles him. He does not understand who is doing this, but only Ava knows that it is her invisible father who is killing Crispy, meaning Baba completely. He has become invisible, then he takes Crispy's dead body and throws it down the mountain and gives it to a bear to eat. Now only Ava is sitting in the car, but with her is Bob, who is invisible. Then it is revealed that Bob, the one who saved Bob from the mental hospital, was none other than Bob's father, who himself is invisible. He did not want the tests that were done on Bob in that hospital. That is why he tried to get Bob out of there, and they were successful. And with this, friends, this movie ends here.